may not be racing at Aqueduct until December 28th, but there is plenty of good action while we are closed, including opening day at Santa Anita, and that is December 26th, or traditional opening day, the day after Christmas, and it features their 8th race, the Malibu, one of 4 stakes on a terrific card, and we're offering a special deal on NYRABets.com. If you bet $20 on any horse in the Malibu to win, and that horse finishes second and exactly second, you will get your money back. And I want to take a look at that Malibu, because the Malibu, one of my favorite races every year, it came up as a very, very good race this year. And it's also got a little bit of an Eastern influence to it, too. A couple of horses that we've seen in New York will be racing in there, including a horse who may end up being the favorite, and that is the number 4, Favorable Outcome. And we'll take a look at Favorable Outcome, running a very fast fig, winning a race here just a few weeks ago at the Big A. It would be nice to see a horse win the Malibu off a win at Aqueduct. Now, while the horse that narrowly was defeated by Favorable Outcome did not run particularly well in the subsequent start, and also ran in this race, the gray and the yellow silks, you can see finishing 4th at this point, Skylar Scramjet came back with a triple-digit buyer. This was a very fast race, and it got a 104 buyer, and that's the fastest fig anyone's run in this race. But aside from that, the thing that gives Favorable Outcome an edge over his chief competition is that he has speed. And the Malibu is relatively devoid of speed, especially for a California sprint stake. So Favorable Outcome can put himself in a good position, sitting second or third and pounce first, and that may give him a real advantage over his chief rivals who don't have nearly his speed. And one of those chief rivals, and maybe the horse to beat in this race, is Pavel. The number 6 Pavel, we got familiar with him in Saratoga when in his second start he ran a bang-up third in the Jim Dandy. Here he is in just his 4th career start, getting narrowly beaten in the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup at 1.25 miles. Keen Ice is outside of him, and the horse in front of him is Diversify. And I thought Pavel ran very, very well in this race. He bombed badly in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but let's be realistic, it was the Breeders' Cup Classic. Now, Pavel would love to win this race, a Grade 1. It's an important race, but he is a horse that's better going a bit longer. And there isn't a lot of pace in this race, so he can be a bit compromised, but don't make any mistakes. Pavel's a very good horse, and he has a chance to be one of the leaders of the handicap division as the year progresses, as possibly could be the case for the 3 Irish Freedom. He's a 3-year-old. Well, they're all 3-year-olds. This is the last Grade 1 restricted for 3-year-old males. And Irish Freedom in this race is going to finish second behind Prime Attraction, going 1 1/8 in the Native Diver. Now, he's a horse that, like Pavel, wants more distance. And while, once again, they'd love to win this race, he's looking at longer races down the road. But here's a stat for you overall. Turnbacks on the dirt for Bob Baffert. 26% with 136 starters, and that's cutting back from a route to a sprint, as Irish Freedom is doing. $2.18 ROI. How about this one? In graded stakes, he's 8 for 28 with an ROI of $3.49. This move works for Bob Baffert. But Irish Freedom, like Pavel, compromised by the relative lack of pace, which once again gives Favorable Outcome an advantage over him. But let's look at some other players, including the speed. And the speed is the one, City of Light. Now, we'll look at City of Light at Del Mar, finishing second behind Dabster. And Dabster is trying this race as well for trainer Bob Baffert, making just his 4th start. I don't like Dabster. I don't believe he's good enough. But City of Light is a horse that, because of his speed, has a chance to pull a mild upset. Having said that, he did race off the rail during much of the running, but he tired late when he dipped down towards that rail, which wasn't good. This was Breeders' Cup weekend at Del Mar. But I also wonder, is he really a horse that's suited to going 7 furlongs against this kind of quality? And you have to imagine that Favorable Outcome will attack him sooner than later. And I just don't see him dealing with that one, somehow holding him off and holding off any closers. Dabster, I just don't know if he's good enough. But I'll tell you an interesting horse. If you want a price in this race, the 2, Edwards Going Left, a Calbred. You got to love the Calbred, right? Root for him. It's a horse who's 6 for 9 lifetime. And John Sadler claimed him out of his debut for $50,000. He actually ran him back for $30,000. And luckily for him, nobody claimed him. He has been terrific, and this was a very good effort. I thought he attacked the pace pretty early in this race and did well to hold on to beat Solid Wager in what turned out to be a very fast race. It's a race that is a cut below on speed figures, the aforementioned horses, the big 3. But he's not without a chance, and if you're looking for a long shot, and we'll discuss betting strategies when we're done, Edwards Going Left has a little bit of a shot. He might be the kind of horse you want to use 3rd or 4th in tries and supers in a race like this. At Saratoga on September 1st, we ran what we referred to as a Grade 1 maiden race. And it's interesting to see the horse who won that race, CZ Rocket. And here he is holding off Tommy T, who will be returning here at Aqueduct on December 28th. Getting a 95 Beyer speed figure, making a big run, first time out for Al Stahl, an $800,000 City Zip. This horse can flat out run. He is now 3 for 3. He has won his next 2 starts, and he's going to take on the big boys and try to prove that this was, in fact, a Grade 1 maiden special weight when he tries to win a Grade 1 for Al Stahl, who finished second in this race a few years ago with Central Banker. My problem with CZ Rocket is I just don't know if he's good enough. Now, he's showing a little bit more speed, but he's not that kind of horse that's going to be in great position either, and I just don't know if he's good enough to take on some of the big boys. I think Favorable Outcome is the horse to beat because of the distance and the fact that he has tactical speed. I greatly respect Irish Freedom and Pavel, and in some ways, I think Pavel might be the main horse for him to beat. I like Favorable Outcome, Pavel, and Irish Freedom. Nothing clever there, but here's a thought for you. With this $20 give back we're giving you, if you bet $20 to win on any horse in the Malibu, and that horse finishes exactly second, you get your money back. Maybe you want to take a shot and bet a long shot and say, hey, if that horse wins, I get lucky and make a score, and maybe it runs second, I get my money back. Maybe Edwards Going Left is a horse you want to look at because he is the long shot that I think has a chance to at least get a piece in the Malibu, a Calbred in the Malibu, a Grade 1. A lot of good action at Santa Anita on opening day, December 26th. We'll be back in action on December 28th at Aqueduct, but don't miss what's going on while we're away and play that $20 cash back on the Malibu. December 26th, opening day at Santa Anita.